Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So, I did go ahead and grab a game from the Superbet Romania as part of the Grand Chess Tour that they just got done playing. And this is Liren versus Wesley. So, of course, as you guys know, Liren is now the world champion. I have to say this. Honestly, I feel kind of bad for Liren because there's always that cloud above his head, you know, of like, you know, Magnus Carlsen's still out there, you know, that he's still the best in the world. We don't think that he could have beat him. We just really never know. But I really, I kind of feel bad for Ding being in the position that he's in. It was a well-fought, you know, victory between him and Jan Nepomniachtchi. So, I mean, it was a nice series that they played, nice match that they played. But anyways, for all of my people in the Philippines, I would say mabuhay, kamusta na king makaibigan. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Maraming salamat, the king makaibigan. Anybody who is coming from China, I will say ni hao and shishini. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. But if you guys are ready to go, let's take a look and see what we got for this game, homie. Let me get my volume up. I ain't put it up. So we got c4, knight to f6. We got knight to c3, e5. So we do have the English opening. It is the two knights variation. A majority of the time, when black doesn't want to transpose into any type of d4 situations, they'll play the move e5. You know, because if they play anything else, most other things, you know, d4 will come and we basically just transpose into, you know, a regular Indian type of game. And, you know, however we do that, you know, with like King's Indian stuff. You know, you got Queen's Gambit declines. You got, you know, all kinds of different things that you can get into. But like I said, e5 basically makes that very difficult. Not difficult, but, you know, it just kind of discourages all of that. So we do have the move e3. We got bishop to b4. Knight g goes to e2. We got castles by black. We got a3. What is this bishop doing here, bro? Bishop goes back to e7. We got d4. Pawn takes d4, queen takes d4, which is definitely one of the moves. Is pretty much the top move. You can play a couple different things. Of course, you could take pawn takes, knight takes. I mean, however you want to kind of do. I would probably say personally, knight takes is just a little bit better. It does get the knight out of this, you know, bishop's way on f1. But we do see queen taking d4. We got knight down to a6, and then immediately queen back to d1. Which, I mean, probably you can leave the queen there. I mean, as long as it's not attacked. I mean, it's not really, you know, hurting anything to be there. But we do see the move c6. Knight comes to f4. We got knight back to c7. And this is very interesting, you know, play by both players. Like, you know, we kind of have this little knight maneuver situation that's very similar to, like, Benoni's and stuff. And then we have this little knight to f5 move. Which, I mean, you're pretty safe on f4. And you don't really want to play g5. Because you're going to be ripping open your king side a little bit too much. We do see the move e4, and then we have the novelty of the game, which is rook over to e8. Like I did last game, I said rook to e1 was a novelty. Rook to e8 is a novelty, which, I mean, I have to be honest with you. It's a little bit strange, just simply because this is a half-open file. So if you're going to put your rook somewhere, it's going to be on e8. So it's magical that on move 10 we have a novelty. But we got bishop to e2, bishop back to f8. Now we are doing a little something on this e-pawn. You know, whenever you have a pawn center or you have pawns in the center of the board, you know, your opponent is going to try to attack that some kind of way. Let me put this light on. Bang. So we do see the move queen up to d3, just defending the pawn, but we do see queen to e7. And something, you know, has to give. Unless you're the computer. If you're the computer, you're like, bro, it doesn't even matter. Like, it's good. Like, we're all right. So, Liren says, bro, I'm going to go ahead and just play f3 in this position. Like, I'm going to protect the e4 pawn, right? Exactly. But like I said, if you're the computer's like, bro, just don't care about none of that. It literally gives bishop to e3 as one of the best moves in the position. And you guys are probably sitting there thinking, like I'm sitting there thinking, like, what? What? Am I just going to give the pawn away? Like, I mean, I did all that effort to preserve the pawn? Exactly. This is the way the computer wants you to play. Knight takes e4, castles, knight c5, queen c2. And I mean, yes, as black, you do have a little bit of a problem with these two pieces, but you are up an entire pawn. So I have no idea why the computer wants you to play this way. But I mean, it's the computer, and it's, you know, 3,500 or whatever for a reason. But anyways, we got the move f5, like I said. We got queen down to e5. We got knight down to h3, which by itself isn't like the greatest of moves, but I mean, there's some logic behind it. We do see the move d5. Bishop comes to f4. Now, knight to h3 was just making sure that we supported bishop to f4 to hit this queen. Now, what we're about to start seeing here is some crazy Zwischenzug moves, or also known as in-between moves. This is almost like the immortal in-between move game. Now, you do kind of have a little bit of an issue if you are black. Not only are you attacking this queen right here, but you are kind of getting this knight through the queen. So you really don't have like a whole lot of options. But we see the move queen back to e7, just defending the knight over there. Pawn takes d5, pawn takes d5. A knight goes down to f2, knight to e6. Bishop down to e3, and then d4, which is what you guys saw in the thumbnail. Which does kind of look like a fork, you know. You have a little bit of a situation going on. If you take back, which is what we see in the game, you see rook to d8. But white has a very, very saving move. Now, black is definitely in a better position right here. But you do have a nice move that you can make, and that is bishop takes f6. And you are attacking black's queen as you do this. So the queen does take f6. And like I said, this is where the Zwischenzug in-between moves start to get rolling. Because naturally, most people are going to be like, hey, man, my queen is attacked. I got to do something about it, right? Well, actually, no. You do see the move knight to g4, starting the Zwischenzug moves. Queen goes down to g5, and then we still don't move the queen. We just go h4. We got queen to a5, and it is in this position that something does have to give, because now you don't really have any logical in-between moves. We can't go b4 here because bishop is going to take, and it's, you know, this pawn is pinned to the rook, and it's going to be all kinds of nasties, plus your queen is still hanging. So we do have to go queen to b5. Queen goes back to c7. We got knight to d5. Queen goes to g3 with check, which might look kind of bad for white. Like, man, wait a minute. I didn't castle. My king is wide open. Am I just losing? No, you actually are doing still pretty good. The king goes over to f1. We got bishop to d7, giving another, you know, it's not really in-between move because you're not really attacked as black, but it's just a nice developing type of a move. We got queen over to a5. And you really have to be careful because this is a very poisoned pawn. I mean, if we saw queen taking b7, we would be looking at this here. And I mean, this is going to be some nasties after we get this rook on the 7th. So don't go into that. So that's why Liren does, you know, he avoids all of that. So after we see queen to a5, we see knight down to d4. And I mean, black is really kind of starting to unravel their pieces. But as you guys guessed it, the computer's like, hey, bro, like it's like dead even right now. Yeah, it doesn't feel like that if you're white. We got a rook over to d1. We got knight taking e2. And then we have a really, really nice in-between move. And it's crazy because ever since like knight to g4, both of these players have been playing pretty computer-like. I mean, basically, when you're looking at what the computer's saying, they're playing like the top move. So it's pretty crazy. But in this exact position, we actually have the move a rook up to h3. And this is kind of posing a question to, you know, black. Like, what does black want to do with their queen? But we see another in-between move, and that is the move b6, attacking the queen yet another time. And then we see the move queen to a6. We have actually reached a point in the game. There is an absolute, like, it's not a complete 100% only move. There is an alternate move, but this is by far the best move in the position. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and try to guess this move that black plays, go ahead and do so. Alrighty, so I think a majority of you guys are kind of doing the math and you're thinking, okay, wait a minute. I don't want to go here. That's going to be takes. I don't want to go here. I don't really super want to go here, even though you can go there because there's probably going to be some type of discovery situation or something. I mean, I'm lining my queen up with the king. I can't go here. So, I mean, the most logical place to go to is back to b8. Now, I will accept queen to b8 as an alternate move. It is not the absolute best move, which is probably really shocking to you. But we probably would see something like queen taking e2 and then bishop e6 and then rook down to h1. And I mean, you know, both sides are doing okay, even though black is down a pawn. I mean, it's legitimate. But after we saw queen to a6, like I said, the absolute best move in the position, believe it or not, is bishop takes g4, giving away the queen. And it is actually showing that you are in a dominating position if you are black, even despite all of this stuff. And this is, of course, something that Wesley found. So, I mean, I know that it was frustrating for both of these players to play this game, and they're like, man, this dude is finding all the best moves. Like, when you're attacking somebody and you're playing the best moves, it's frustrating when your opponent is playing the best moves, too, because you're like, dude, he's giving me nothing. It's like playing against the computer. We did see rook taking g3, knight taking g3 with check, king going over to e1, bishop going back to e6. So, I mean, you do have 3 pieces if you're white, and you have 5 pieces if you're black. So, I mean, black really got quite a bit of compensation for, you know, giving away their queen. And then also they do have both rooks. So that's a major, you know, a major thing. So we got queen up to b7, a queen on the 7th. We got a rook d to b8. We got queen over to c7. And knight goes back to h5. And we do see the move g4, which is one of the top ones, backing the knight up to f6. So it kind of looks like, you know, you did a little something, you know, kind of backing black's pieces up. We do see knight going to e7 with check. We got bishop taking e7, queen taking e7. And then we get into an interesting position here. We got a rook to e8, queen to b7, rook e to b8. We got queen back to e7. And then we repeat a couple of times, and we have drawn the game by 3-fold repetition. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, okay, why do I go into this repetition if you're black and you have a better position, right? Because, I mean, white only has 2 pieces. So what else can we play in this position here? You have actually quite a few options. I mean, you have a5 you can play. You know, you have both of these rooks on this back rank, so the queen doesn't really have a good way to penetrate. This rook doesn't really have a whole lot of penetration. So, I mean, you can play, you know, b5, just starting to kind of rip the position open. You do have some options, but I can understand from Wesley So's perspective, you know, how this can be, you know, kind of, you know, nerve-wracking, just simply because, I mean, you do have a queen if you're white. So there are a lot of tactics that are, you know, available when you do have a queen. As you guys can see, you only have 2 pieces here. So you don't have like a plethora of tactics. But I mean, you might have a little something that you can kind of drum up, you know, especially if you're Ding Liren. So, I mean, you just never know. But like I said, that is that game. This was taken out of round 8. So, you know, it was a pretty interesting game. I mean, I think it was really nice how they like both literally played like literal computers. It was insane. But anyways, I appreciate you guys very much. Maraming salamat po sa nanonood ng aking mga video, aking mga kaibigan. Shishini for anybody coming from China. And I'll see you guys next time.